Tonight, we are going to talk about a fact that sounds impossible at first. You are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now. Not directly like a planet circles the sun, and not because Earth is about to fall into darkness, but because our entire solar system is moving around the center of the Milky Way, where Sagittarius A sits inside the crowded heart of the galaxy. From Earth, life feels still. The ground feels solid, and the night sky looks like a quiet ceiling above us. But in reality, everything around you is traveling through space at enormous speed, carried by the rotating galaxy on a journey that takes hundreds of millions of years to complete. Somewhere far beyond the stars we see at night, a black hole millions of times more massive than the sun marks the center of that motion. It does not pull us in like a monster, but it is part of the hidden structure that makes the Milky Way move. So tonight, the question is simple. What does it really mean to be orbiting a supermassive black hole right now? Before we begin tonight's journey, subscribe if you want more calm space documentaries like this. Leave a like if you enjoy deep space mysteries, and write in the comments where you are watching from. Tonight, you are watching the Space for Sleep channel, talking about you are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now. That sentence sounds almost too strange to be true, because nothing about ordinary life feels like an orbit around darkness. You can stand outside at night, look up at the stars, and the world beneath you feels solid and still. The ground does not tremble with galactic motion. The air does not rush past your face, because Earth is being carried through space. The sky does not show you a black hole at the center of the Milky Way, pulling on the entire structure of our galaxy. From the surface of this planet, the universe feels distant, and our home feels calm. But calm is not the same as stillness. Right now, while you sit, breathe, think, and watch the night pass over Earth, the planet is rotating. It is carrying you around its axis once every day, turning you into sunlight, and then back into darkness. At the same time, Earth is orbiting the sun, falling around our star in a path so smooth and familiar that we call it a year. The moon moves around Earth, the planets move around the sun. The solar system itself is not fixed either. The sun is carrying Earth, the moon, the planets, asteroids, comets, and every spacecraft still bound to our star through the Milky Way. And the Milky Way has a center. Far away, hidden behind dust, stars, and clouds of gas, there is a region so dense and extreme that for a long time it could only be understood indirectly. At the heart of that region sits Sagittarius A, the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. It is not close to us in any ordinary sense. It is more than 26,000 light-years away, so far that the light from that region began traveling toward Earth before many of the oldest human civilizations existed. And yet, it marks the deep center around which the Milky Way is organized. This does not mean Earth is about to fall into it. That is important because the title can sound like danger in the wrong way. You are not orbiting Sagittarius A the way Earth orbits the sun. The black hole is not reaching across the galaxy like a monster trying to drag us into its event horizon. We are far too distant for that kind of simple picture. The solar system is moving around the galactic center as part of the entire Milky Way, shaped by the gravity of stars, gas, dark matter, and the massive object at the core. Sagittarius A is part of the center, but the galaxy itself is the larger structure carrying us around. The reality is quieter than science fiction, but much larger. Our solar system moves around the center of the Milky Way at an enormous speed, roughly hundreds of thousands of miles per hour, and still, one orbit takes about 230 million years. That number is almost impossible to feel. It means that the journey is fast beyond human experience, yet slow compared with the size of the galaxy. Speed loses its usual meaning when the path is that large. We are moving quickly, but the circle is so vast that a single lap lasts longer than entire worlds of life on Earth. This galactic orbit is happening now, not in the past, not in some distant future, not only in scientific diagrams. It is happening beneath every human moment, every city, forest, ocean, desert, cloud, storm, birth, death, conversation, dream, and quiet night on Earth is taking place while the solar system continues moving around the Milky Way. The motion is so steady and enormous that it disappears from awareness. We do not feel it because we are carried with it. Everything around us shares the same journey, so there is no wind, no vibration, no sign in the body that we are crossing the galaxy. Stillness is often only motion shared by everything nearby. That is one of the hardest things to understand about space. When everything around you moves together, movement becomes invisible. A person inside a smooth airplane can pour water into a cup as if nothing is happening, even though the aircraft is crossing the sky at great speed. A passenger on Earth feels no rush from the planet's orbit around the Sun, because the atmosphere, oceans, continents, and the human body all move with Earth. The same idea stretches upward into the galaxy. We do not feel the solar system's motion because we are part of the moving system. The body was never built to sense the Milky Way. It was built to sense ground, gravity, weather, light, sound, and nearby danger. Human senses are local. They tell us if a branch cracks behind us, if fire is hot, if the sea is rough, if the air is cold, if another person is near. They do not tell us that our star is carrying us through a galactic orbit that began long before humanity and will continue long after any single civilization. The motion is too large, too smooth, and too constant to become a feeling. So the mind has to do what the body cannot. It has to imagine the Earth from far outside itself. Stars stream around the center. Gas clouds stretch through spiral arms. Clusters drift. Dust lanes curl through the galactic disk. The Milky Way is not a painted image. It is a vast system in motion, shaped by gravity over billions of years. Our Sun is embedded in that motion, not separate from it. Earth is not simply orbiting a star. The star itself is orbiting within a larger structure, and we are passengers on that invisible path. This is where the title becomes true in the deeper sense. You are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now because you are part of a solar system moving around a galactic center that contains one. The ground beneath your feet is tied to Earth. Earth is tied to the Sun. The Sun is tied to the Milky Way. And the Milky Way has a heart where Sagittarius A sits in darkness, surrounded by stars moving under extreme gravity. You are not close to that black hole, but you are part of the same galactic system. Your life is happening inside its larger architecture. That idea changes the feeling of home. Home usually means something stable. A room, a street, a town, a planet. Even the solar system feels like a kind of cosmic home, with the sun in the middle and the planets circling it in a familiar order. But when we widen the view, home becomes a moving thing. Earth is not resting in space. The sun is not resting in space. The solar system is not resting in space. Everything we call home is traveling through the Milky Way on a path so large that a human lifetime is only a tiny moment inside it. The difference is so extreme that the two numbers barely feel like part of the same reality. In one human life, families change, cities change, technology changes, nations change, and memory itself begins to fade. But during that entire lifetime, the solar system has completed only a tiny fraction of its path around the galaxy. Our lives occur on the surface of a moving planet, inside an orbit so vast that human history is almost motionless compared with it. And yet, the motion is real. When dinosaurs walked on Earth, the solar system was in another part of its galactic orbit. When the first mammals lived in the shadows of ancient worlds, the sun was still moving. When the first humans looked at the stars, the path continued. When cities rose, when languages formed, when telescopes were built, when spacecraft left Earth, the solar system kept following its long road around the Milky Way. Every age of life on Earth has happened under a different section of the same enormous orbit. The galaxy has been carrying Earth through changing regions of space for the entire history of life. This does not mean that every point of the orbit is dangerous or dramatic. The galaxy is not a simple track, with obvious borders and events waiting around every turn. Most of the motion is quiet, and the solar system's galactic environment changes slowly. But the fact that Earth has a galactic path at all gives our planet a different kind of history. It is not only a world orbiting the Sun, it is a world whose star is moving through the Milky Way, passing through the larger environment of the galaxy across deep time. The silence of that center is part of what makes the idea powerful. If a supermassive black hole were loud in the sky, if it burned as a visible wound above us every night, perhaps the truth would feel easier to accept. But Sagittarius A is hidden from ordinary sight. Dust blocks visible light from the galactic center. The crowded region around it is complex and distant. We know it not, because it appears as a giant dark circle in the sky. But because science learned to read the motion of stars, radio waves, infrared light, X-rays, and the behavior of matter near the center, the black hole is not obvious. It is revealed by what moves around it. That is a beautiful and unsettling idea. Some of the most important things in the universe are not seen directly at first. They are inferred from motion, from patterns, from forces acting on visible objects. The same is true for our own situation. You do not feel the galactic orbit, but the orbit is there. You do not see Sagittarius A with your eyes, but its presence is written into the center of the Milky Way. You do not sense the solar system crossing space, but the sun's path is part of the galaxy's motion. The universe is full of hidden movement. That is why the thought becomes almost dizzying if you hold it for too long. You are not where you think you are. Not because your location on Earth is wrong, but because the deeper location is much larger than the map in your head. You are not only in a room, in a city, on a continent, on a planet. You are on a planet orbiting a star, and that star is moving around a galactic center where a supermassive black hole sits in darkness. The address of your life extends all the way down to the Milky Way's hidden core. And still, nothing about breakfast, sleep, work, rain, or memory requires you to feel it. That is the mercy of scale. This is not meant to make Earth feel unsafe. In a strange way, it can make Earth feel more precious. The fact that we do not feel the motion means we are embedded in a stable enough system for life to exist. Earth can spin, orbit the sun, and travel through the galaxy, while oceans remain oceans and forests remain forests. The motion is enormous, but it is not chaos. It is order on a scale too large to feel. That order is what allows the night sky to seem calm. And yet behind that calm is one of the greatest movements in our lives, the slow galactic orbit of the solar system around a center we cannot see. This is where the first part of the journey has to settle. Before we look into the hidden center itself, before we follow the stars racing around Sagittarius A, before we ask why we are not being pulled into it, we have to understand the quiet fact that makes everything else possible. We are not standing still in the universe. The ground beneath us is part of a moving planet. The planet is part of a moving solar system. And the solar system is part of a galaxy turning around a dark center. You do not feel the motion because you are inside it. You do not see the center because the galaxy hides it. But every second of your life is happening on a world carried through that enormous orbit. That is the first truth behind the title. The black hole is not above you like a threat, and it is not below you like a trap. It is far away, buried in the crowded heart of the Milky Way. but the structure of the galaxy connects your quiet night to that hidden center. The same galaxy that holds Sagittarius A also holds the Sun, Earth, and everything we have ever known. The stillness of home is real in the human sense, but in the galactic sense, home is moving. And to understand that motion, we have to turn toward the hidden center of the Milky Way. The center of our galaxy is not a place the human eye can simply look at and understand. If you go outside on a clear night, far from city lights, the Milky Way may appear as a pale river across the sky, a soft band of starlight and dust stretching from horizon to horizon. It looks delicate from Earth, almost peaceful, like a quiet cloud painted behind the stars. But that calm appearance hides one of the most extreme environments in our galaxy. The center is buried behind distance and darkness. Between Earth and the heart of the Milky Way, there are thousands of light-years of stars, dust, and gas. Visible light does not pass through all of that easily. Dust clouds block and scatter it, hiding the deepest parts of the galaxy from ordinary sight. So for most of human history, the true center of the Milky Way was not something people could see as a clear object. We could see the bright band of the galaxy, but not the thing hidden inside its middle. That hidden middle is where Sagittarius A sits. Sagittarius A is not a black hole you could point to in the night sky with your eyes. It is not a giant dark circle hanging above Earth. It is not close enough to appear as a wound in space. It is more than 26,000 light-years away, deep in the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, surrounded by a crowded region of stars and dust. It is our galaxy's central supermassive black hole, with a mass millions of times greater than the Sun, compressed into a region that is tiny compared with the galaxy around it. That combination is what makes it so strange. A few million solar masses may sound like a number too large to feel, but the Milky Way itself contains hundreds of billions of stars. Compared with the entire galaxy, Sagittarius A is not the dominant mass of everything around us. It is not the only reason the solar system orbits the galactic center. The galaxy's stars, gas, and dark matter all shape the larger motion. But at the very center, Sagittarius A is the dark anchor, the compact object around which the innermost stars move with incredible speed. That is the kind of object the human mind struggles to picture. A planet is easy to imagine because it has a surface. A star is difficult, but still familiar because it shines. A galaxy is overwhelming, but at least it can be pictured as a structure of light. A black hole is different. Its defining region is not a surface you can land on, or a glowing sphere you can see directly. It is a boundary beyond which light cannot return. It is known not because it shines like a star, but because of what gravity does around it. Sagittarius A was revealed by motion. Astronomers watched stars near the galactic center move in tight, fast orbits around something that could not be seen in ordinary light. Those stars behaved as if an enormous amount of mass was packed into a very small region. Their paths were not random. They curved around a hidden center, and the more carefully those motions were measured, the clearer the conclusion became. Something incredibly massive and compact was sitting there. That is one of the most beautiful ways science discovers the invisible. It watches the visible move. A star near Sagittarius A can swing around the hidden mass at speeds that would be unimaginable in the calm outer regions of the galaxy. Its orbit becomes a kind of signature written by gravity. The star itself is the light we can observe, but the unseen object is the reason the light moves the way it does. In this way, the black hole at the center of the Milky Way is not introduced to us by a direct view first. It is introduced by the motion of other things. From here, Sagittarius A is not a local threat. It is a sign of the structure we live inside. That distinction matters for the tone of the whole journey. The idea that you are orbiting a supermassive black hole should not be understood as a panic story. It is not a prediction of doom. It is a way of seeing our position more clearly. We are not floating in an empty, disconnected universe. We are part of a rotating galaxy, and that galaxy has a center far more extreme than anything in our everyday experience. The center is violent in scale, but quiet in our lives. That quietness is part of why it feels so strange. A black hole millions of times more massive than the Sun exists in the same galaxy as every forest, ocean, city, and human memory, but nothing about waking up in the morning tells you this. The center of the Milky Way does not cast a shadow across your room. It does not change the taste of water. It does not interrupt the seasons. It is hidden behind distance, and distance makes the extreme become silent. The universe often works this way, but the center is there. Behind the dust, behind the bright stars, behind the glowing clouds and crowded fields, the galaxy has a deep core. The region around Sagittarius A is filled with movement and energy. Not because the black hole is devouring everything around it like a simple myth, but because gravity near the center organizes matter in extreme ways. Stars crowd closer together. Gas can be heated. Magnetic fields and radiation become important. The environment is not like the peaceful night sky seen from Earth. The heart of the Milky Way is not quiet because nothing happens there. It is quiet to us because it is far away. This is an important difference. When we say the black hole is quiet, we mean that Sagittarius A is not currently shining as a bright, active galactic nucleus like the central black holes in some galaxies. It is relatively faint compared with those cosmic engines. But faint does not mean simple. Even a quiet supermassive black hole is still an extreme object, surrounded by complex physics and stars moving through gravity far stronger than anything near Earth. Its silence is not emptiness. The black hole is close in cosmic meaning, but far in every practical sense. This is why the galactic center feels almost mythic. It is real science, measured and modeled, but it also sits behind layers of invisibility. We know it through radio waves, infrared observations, X-rays, stellar orbits, and the combined work of telescopes across the world. No single human eye sees it directly. No spacecraft has visited it. No probe is on its way there. The center of our own galaxy is still, in a very real way, remote territory. And yet it is the center of the home galaxy. That contradiction is powerful. We live inside the Milky Way, but we cannot simply look around and understand it from within. It is like living inside a vast city while being unable to see the city's full shape. From one street, you can see lights, buildings, and roads, but not the whole design. From Earth, we see stars and the Milky Way band. But the structure of the galaxy has to be reconstructed by careful observation. The center is part of our home, but it is not nearby in the human sense. Home can contain places no human will ever reach. Sagittarius A breaks that illusion. It reminds us that the galaxy has a center, and we are not it. This does not make Earth less important to us. Earth is still the only world we know where oceans move under a blue sky, where life has filled the land and sea, where minds have looked outward and named the stars. Human importance is not the same as cosmic centrality. We can matter deeply to ourselves and still be physically small in the structure of the Milky Way. That is one of the calm truths of astronomy. It reduces our position without reducing our experience. The hidden center also changes the way the Milky Way feels. Without Sagittarius A, the galaxy might seem like a wide river of stars, beautiful but distant. With it, the galaxy becomes a system with a dark heart. Not evil, not supernatural, not alive, but dark in the physical sense. A place where gravity has become so extreme that light itself cannot escape from within the event horizon. Around that darkness, stars move. Around the galaxy's center, the solar system moves. And on one small planet inside that motion, human beings look up and wonder why the night sky seems still. This is why Sagittarius A can be both central and distant. It is central to the galaxy's deepest structure, but distant from human life. It is massive, but not the only mass shaping our orbit. It is extreme, but not an immediate threat. It is hidden, but not imaginary. Holding all of these ideas together is not easy, because the mind wants a simpler story. It wants the black hole to be either dangerous or irrelevant, either close or far, either the reason for everything or the reason for nothing. The truth is more subtle. Sagittarius A is a real supermassive black hole at the Milky Way center. It is part of the gravitational environment around which the galaxy rotates. It is not pulling Earth straight inward. It is not something we feel. But our solar system's motion around the galactic center makes it part of the larger story of every life on Earth. The hidden center has always been there during human history. It was there when the first people looked at the night sky without knowing what the Milky Way was. It was there when ancient cultures turned the starry band into myth. It was there when telescopes began to reveal more stars than the eye could count. It was there when astronomers realized that the Milky Way was not the whole universe, but one galaxy among many. It was there when modern instruments finally traced the motions of stars near the core and revealed the compact mass at the center. Human understanding changed. The center remained. This is another reason the galactic center feels so powerful. It was not created by discovery. It was not made real when we named it. It existed long before any human word for galaxy, black hole, gravity, or light. Science did not place Sagittarius A at the center of the Milky Way. Science uncovered the fact that it had been there all along. The universe does not wait for us to understand it. It simply is. That can feel cold, but it is also what makes discovery meaningful. Every time we learn something like this, the world we thought we lived in becomes larger. The sky becomes deeper. Home becomes stranger. The Milky Way stops being a decorative band of light and becomes a rotating structure with a hidden center, a core of stars and dust and gravity, and a supermassive black hole sitting in the middle. Once you know that, the night sky cannot be quite the same. Even if you cannot see Sagittarius A, you can know that the galaxy has a center behind the stars. You can know that the solar system is moving around it. You can know that the quiet ground beneath you belongs to a planet being carried through that motion. The knowledge does not change what your body feels, but it changes what your mind can hold. And that is what space documentaries are really about. Not simply facts, but the expansion of what feels real. A fact becomes powerful when it changes the emotional shape of the universe. Sagittarius A is not only an object with a mass and a distance, it is a reminder that our entire sense of stillness is local. It shows that the calm surface of Earth is nested inside a moving solar system, inside a rotating galaxy, around a hidden center that human eyes cannot see. That hidden center is where the next part of the journey naturally turns. Because once we understand that Sagittarius A exists at the heart of the Milky Way, the question becomes more personal. If there is a supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy, and if our solar system is moving around that center, why are we not being pulled into it? Why does the black hole not simply drag the galaxy inward? Why can Earth remain calm while orbiting a structure that contains something so extreme? The answer begins with a deeper truth about gravity, distance, and motion. And once we understand what hides at the center, the next question becomes why this darkness does not pull us in. It is a natural question, because the word black hole almost automatically creates the wrong image in the mind. We imagine an object that consumes everything around it, a kind of cosmic drain that cannot be resisted, a place where stars, planets, light, and time are all dragged inward. That image is not completely invented. Close to a black hole, gravity can become extreme enough to destroy worlds, tear apart stars, and bend light into paths that no human eye could easily understand. But the mistake is believing that this danger reaches across the whole galaxy in the same way. It does not. A black hole is not a vacuum cleaner. That is where the horror begins. Near the event horizon, gravity becomes extreme in a way no normal surface can offer. Around a black hole, matter can orbit at high speeds, heat up, radiate, and fall inward. If you came too close, the difference in gravity between one side of your body and the other could become catastrophic. Light itself can be trapped. Time, as seen from far away, behaves in ways that feel almost impossible. Close up, a black hole is one of the most violent environments the universe allows. But Earth is not close up. Earth is not even close in any meaningful human sense. Sagittarius A is more than 26,000 light-years away. That distance is so large that it turns the central black hole from a local danger into a part of the galaxy's distant structure. The light from the region around it takes tens of thousands of years to reach us. If something changed near the galactic center tonight, we would not see that change until the far future. The distance is not just large, it is protective. It spreads the effect of gravity into the enormous architecture of the Milky Way, rather than into a direct pull on your body, your house, or Earth itself. You are not falling toward Sagittarius A in the way an object falls toward Earth. You are moving with the solar system around the galactic center. Earth falls around the Sun. The Moon falls around Earth. Satellites fall around Earth. The solar system falls around the galactic center. In each case, the object is moving forward fast enough that as gravity bends its path, it keeps missing the center. This is not a perfect circle drawn on paper. Real orbits can be complex, shaped by many masses and long-term changes. But the basic idea remains: orbit is not stillness, it is motion shaped by gravity. That is why you can be orbiting a black hole and still be safe. The safety comes from distance, motion, and scale. Sagittarius A is massive, but the Milky Way is far more than its central black hole. The galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars, enormous amounts of gas and dust, and a vast halo of dark matter. All of that mass helps shape the motion of the solar system around the galactic center. It would be misleading to imagine the Sun orbiting Sagittarius A alone, as if the rest of the galaxy were empty. The real situation is larger and more subtle. We orbit the galaxy's center of mass within a vast gravitational system, and Sagittarius A sits at the core of that system. This makes the title emotionally powerful, but scientifically careful. You are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now, but not because that black hole alone controls your life. You are part of a galaxy whose center contains a supermassive black hole. The solar system moves around that center as part of the Milky Way's rotation. The black hole is central, but not all-powerful. It is extreme, but not nearby. It is part of the reason the galactic center is so important, but it is not a cosmic mouth swallowing us from across the disk. Because the truth is not that we are about to fall in. The truth is that we are already moving inside something far too large to feel. This is why Sagittarius A can be both terrifying and harmless to us at the same time. Terrifying because close to it the laws of motion and light are pushed into extreme conditions. Harmless because we are not close to it. The difference between those two realities is distance. Distance turns a deadly object into a structural landmark. Distance turns cosmic violence into quiet background. Distance is the reason an event horizon at the center of the galaxy has no direct effect on your morning. The same principle appears everywhere in astronomy. The sun is powerful enough to blind you, burn you, and strip atmospheres from worlds that are too close, But Earth survives because it orbits at the right distance for liquid water and stable climate. Jupiter is massive enough to reshape the paths of comets and asteroids, but it does not pull Earth out of orbit because distance and motion matter. A supernova can be devastating near its source, but from far enough away, it becomes light in the sky. The universe is full of powerful objects, and whether they are dangerous depends not only on what they are, but where you are. Location is survival. Quiet enough for a planet to build oceans, atmospheres, ecosystems, and eventually minds that could discover the black hole at the center. That thought changes the fear into something more reflective. We are not safe because the universe is gentle. We are safe because, for now, we live in a fortunate arrangement of distance, motion, and time. Earth is close enough to the sun for warmth, far enough from the sun to avoid destruction, far from the galactic center's extremes, and carried by a star that has remained stable long enough for life to grow. Our safety is not a wall, it is a balance. The black hole does not need to threaten us for the story to feel unsettling. It is unsettling because we exist inside a system we barely notice. The Milky Way is moving around us and through us, in a sense. Not as a wind, but as the structure of our cosmic address. We wake, work, sleep, and dream on a planet whose star is racing through a galactic orbit. We do not feel the black hole because it is distant, but the large emotion is still real. The quiet of daily life is laid over a deep gravitational dance. This is one of the most calming and strange ideas in physics. Stability does not mean nothing is happening. It means the motion has found a pattern that can last. Earth's orbit around the sun is not a static position. It is a continuing relationship between speed and gravity. The same is true on a larger scale for the solar system's path around the Milky Way. We are not suspended in space. We are not nailed to a cosmic floor. We are moving. And that motion is what keeps the story from becoming a fall into the center. The black hole is not pulling us inward because we are not motionless. This is where the image in the mind has to change. The Milky Way is not a flat drain with Sagittarius A at the bottom. It is a galaxy with a disk, spiral structure, a bulge, a halo, stars moving on different paths, and mass distributed across enormous scales. The solar system is part of this moving structure. Its orbit around the galactic center is not like a coin circling a drain. It is more like a star moving through a gravitationally organized city of stars, with the center far away and the path shaped by the mass of the whole city. The black hole is the most extreme object at the heart, but it is not the entire city. This helps explain why the night sky does not look like a disaster. If Sagittarius A were the only important mass in the Milky Way, the galaxy would be a very different place. But the galaxy's gravity is spread throughout its stars, gas, and dark matter. The solar system's orbit reflects the total gravitational environment inside its path, not simply a direct line to a single object. The black hole matters enormously near the center, especially for stars that pass close to it. Far out where we live, its direct pull is only one part of a much larger gravitational story. This is why stars near the center can race wildly around Sagittarius A, while Earth remains calm. They are close. We are far. A fire can warm a room from the right distance and destroy anything placed inside it. A star can nourish a planet from one orbit and burn another world closer in. A black hole can dominate nearby space and still be only a distant center from far away. The universe is not simply made of dangerous things and safe things. It is made of relationships, distances, energies, and motions. Sagittarius A is dangerous in one relationship. It is part of a stable galactic structure in another. From Earth, we live in the second relationship. This does not remove the awe. It makes the awe more accurate. We are not safe because the black hole is weak. We are safe because we are far, because our motion is sideways, because the Milky Way's mass is distributed, and because our local environment is governed mostly by the sun. The black hole at the center is not irrelevant, but it is not the force shaping your heartbeat, the weather, or the path of clouds tonight. This layered truth is more powerful than a simple threat. It shows how reality can be connected without everything being immediate. A distant black hole can be part of the structure you orbit while having almost no direct effect on your daily existence. A galaxy can carry you around a dark center without making that center visible. A planet can feel still while participating in motion at scales that dwarf human history. The hidden motion is real even when the danger is not local. And this is why the title works. It is not meant to say that the black hole is about to consume Earth. It is meant to make you feel the hidden scale of your actual situation. You are on a planet that orbits a star. That star is moving through a galaxy. The galaxy has a supermassive black hole at its center. Your life is happening inside that arrangement, whether or not your senses report it. The truth is not panic. The truth is displacement. Because the same gravity that seems terrifying near a black hole is also the gravity that gives structure to the universe. Gravity gathers matter into stars. Stars gather planets into orbits. Galaxies gather stars into systems that can last for billions of years. Without gravity, there would be no solar system, no Earth, no stable paths, no long cosmic history in which life could emerge. Gravity is not only the force of falling, it is the force of belonging to a structure. We are not falling into Sagittarius A. We belong to the Milky Way. That belonging is enormous, almost too large to feel like belonging at all. A person belongs to a home, a family, a place, a memory. But at the largest scale of our local universe, we also belong to a galaxy. The sun is one of its stars. Earth is one of the planets carried by one of those stars. Every life on Earth has happened inside the Milky Way's gravitational shape. The black hole at the center is part of that shape, but it is not the whole of it. This is a more mature kind of cosmic fear. Not fear of being destroyed tonight, but fear of understanding how small and carried we are. The black hole does not need to approach us. The realization is enough. The ground under your feet, which feels like the most stable thing in existence, is part of a planet moving around a star, inside a solar system moving around a galactic center, in a universe where even the word stillness depends on scale. You are safe, but you are not fixed. You are calm, but not motionless. You are far from the black hole, but still part of the galaxy that contains it. That is why the answer to the question is not comforting in the ordinary sense. Why are we not falling into it? Because we are already falling in the only way stable orbits allow. Because we are far enough away. Because we are moving sideways fast enough. Because the Milky Way is not only its black hole. Because gravity, distance, and motion together create the pattern we live inside. None of that makes the situation less strange. It makes it stranger, because it means the world can feel perfectly normal while being part of an enormous curved path around a dark center. It means that cosmic motion does not have to be dramatic to be real. It means the universe can carry you through space without your body ever noticing. A quiet room on Earth is not separate from the galaxy. It is inside the galaxy's motion. The stillness you feel is local. The orbit is cosmic. And once fear gives way to scale, the next thing to understand is the enormous galactic year we are living inside. A year feels simple because Earth gives it to us in a familiar shape. Winter becomes spring, spring becomes summer, summer becomes autumn, and the planet returns to the same part of its orbit around the sun. Human life is built around that cycle. We measure age by it. We plan work around it. We remember birthdays, seasons, school years, harvests, holidays, and the slow rhythm of the planet turning around its star. But Earth's year is only the smallest version of a much larger idea. The Sun also has a year. Not around Earth and not around any nearby object, but around the center of the Milky Way. As the solar system moves through the galaxy, it follows a vast path that takes roughly 230 million years to complete. That single orbit is often called a galactic year, though the word year begins to feel almost too small for it. A human year is something we can live through again and again. A galactic year is something no human civilization has ever seen completed. It is longer than recorded history. A single orbit of the Sun around the Milky Way is so long that the mind has to stop treating it like a normal measurement of time. 230 million years is not just a large number. It is a number that turns Earth's history into something that can be placed along a cosmic track. The solar system is not only moving through space, it is moving through eras of life, extinction, climate, continents, and evolution, all while slowly tracing one enormous path around the hidden center of the galaxy. When the solar system was last in roughly this part of its galactic orbit, Earth was not the world we know. The continents were arranged differently. The animals were different. The atmosphere, climate, and ecosystems belonged to another age. Dinosaurs were part of Earth's story. No human cities existed. No human language had ever been spoken. No telescope had ever looked up at the Milky Way. No one knew there was a galaxy at all, and no mind on Earth could have imagined a supermassive black hole waiting in its distant center. And yet, the Sun was already moving. The solar system is not returning to the exact same universe after each galactic year. The galaxy itself is changing while we move through it. Stars are born and die. Gas clouds shift. Spiral arms are not fixed roads but dynamic structures. The Sun moves with other stars, influenced by gravity, passing through the larger environment of the Milky Way. A galactic year is not a perfect circle drawn through a static background. It is motion inside a moving system. That makes the idea even stranger. Earth's year feels repetitive because the seasons return. The same months come back, the same constellations rise again. But a galactic year is not repetition in the same comforting way. By the time the Sun completes one orbit, everything has changed. Earth has changed. The solar system has aged. The galaxy has moved and evolved. Even if the Sun returns to a similar position relative to the galactic center, the universe around it is not the same as before. There is no true return. Only another passage through a changed galaxy. This is why the galactic year can make human time feel almost weightless. 1,000 years is enormous to civilization. It can bury cities, transform languages, erase kingdoms, and turn living cultures into archaeology. But compared with one galactic orbit, 1,000 years is barely a breath. 10,000 years reaches beyond agriculture, into the deep past of human memory. But still, it is tiny. 1,000,000 years begins to feel prehistoric, almost impossible to imagine. And yet, it is still only a small fraction of the Sun's path around the Milky Way. While you sleep, the Sun keeps moving. While clouds drift over Earth, the solar system keeps moving. While the Moon pulls tides across the oceans, the Sun carries all of it along its galactic path. No human decision is needed, no engine burns, no destination is announced. The motion continues because gravity and momentum have shaped it into a vast orbit. That is the quiet beauty of orbital motion. It can be enormous and invisible at the same time. If the solar system's galactic path were visible as a glowing trail behind the Sun, the night sky might feel completely different. We might see the long arc our star has traced through the Milky Way, a path stretching across ages of life on Earth. We might imagine ancient forests, vanished seas, and extinct animals left behind along that trail. We might see human history as a tiny bright mark near the current position, almost nothing compared with the long curve of the journey. Only thought can break it. And when thought breaks it, the scale becomes almost dizzying. The solar system has not even completed many galactic orbits since it formed. The Sun is about 4.6 billion years old. And if one galactic year is roughly 230 million years, then the Sun has made only around 20 trips around the Milky Way in its entire life. 20. That is a number the human mind can count easily, and yet each one contains hundreds of millions of years. The Sun is ancient to us. But in galactic years, it is not unimaginably old. This is one of those comparisons that changes the emotional shape of time. A human being may live less than 100 Earth years. A civilization may last thousands. Life on Earth has changed over billions. But the Sun's motion around the galaxy turns all of that into a smaller rhythm. A star that has gone around the Milky Way only a few dozen times, carrying the entire history of Earth with it. When complex animals emerged, the orbit continued. When dinosaurs ruled, vanished, and became fossils, the orbit continued. When humans finally looked up and asked where they were, the orbit was still continuing. This is not a list of separate facts. It is one continuous movement. The solar system is the thread, and Earth's history is woven along it. Everything that ever lived on this planet lived somewhere along the Sun's galactic path. Every fossil, every extinction, every forest, every reef, every ice sheet, every human ancestor belongs not only to Earth's surface, but to a position in the Milky Way's long orbit. The galaxy is not just above Earth, not a danger in the sky, a reference point for deep time. This is why you are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now, is not only about gravity. It is about the hidden calendar you were born into. Your life is not only measured by Earth's trips around the Sun, it is also occurring during a tiny fraction of the Sun's trip around the Milky Way. You will not live long enough to notice the galactic orbit change. No human civilization has existed long enough to mark even a meaningful part of it directly. And yet your entire life is happening inside that orbit. We are creatures of a small calendar living inside a giant one. The small calendar tells us when to plant, when to sleep, when to celebrate, when to count another birthday. The giant calendar does not speak to us. It does not divide itself into seasons we can feel. It does not care about the rise and fall of societies. It carries stars, planets, and life through a galaxy whose motion is older than memory. The silence of that larger calendar can feel almost frightening. The solar system is still somewhere on its current galactic path, still moving, still carried by the combined gravity of the galaxy. Earth's present moment is only a location along that path. The dinosaurs belonged to another location. The first humans belonged to another. The future Earth, if it remains habitable for long enough, will belong to another. The galaxy turns our planet's history into a moving sequence inside a larger structure. The place where history happened is moving. That sentence feels simple, but it changes everything. It means that every map of Earth is also part of a larger map we rarely imagine. A city's location on a continent is true locally, but the entire continent is being carried by Earth, and Earth is being carried by the Sun, and the Sun is being carried around the galaxy. There is no final still coordinate where human history rests. There is only motion nested inside motion. This does not make human history meaningless. The galactic year does not replace the human year. It surrounds it. And once you understand that, the center of the Milky Way becomes less like an object in a documentary and more like part of your real address in the universe. You are not only alive in a year like 2026, you are alive during a particular small moment in the Sun's current galactic orbit. You are alive after the solar system has completed about 20 journeys around the galaxy since its birth. You are alive before it completes the next one. You are alive in a small interval of a much larger clock. No one can feel that directly, but feeling it directly is not required for it to be true. The sky no longer feels like a ceiling. It feels like the inside of a moving system. And yet the motion remains gentle to us because the scale is so enormous. The galaxy does not rush past like scenery outside a car window. Nearby stars shift slowly. Galactic structure changes slowly. The sun's path curves over time so long that no human observer can watch it in the ordinary way. We know it through measurement, through models, through the motions of stars, and through the understanding that the Milky Way is not static. That may be why it feels almost dreamlike. It is too large to become a memory, too slow to become an experience, too real to dismiss as metaphor. It exists in a category between fact and awe. You can say the solar system takes about 230 million years to orbit the galaxy, but the sentence does not contain the feeling. The feeling comes when you realize that every age of Earth has happened during only a small number of these enormous turns. The Sun has carried Earth through the Milky Way for billions of years, and Earth has been changing the whole time. This means that the galactic year is also a way of seeing life differently. Life is not only something that evolved on a planet under a star. It evolved on a planet whose star was traveling through a galaxy. The ancestors of every living thing were carried along this path. The chemistry of life, the rise of cells, the spread of oxygen, the movement of animals onto land, the growth of forests, the extinction of species, the emergence of human beings. All of it happened while the solar system moved through the Milky Way. Life is local, but its stage is galactic. This does not mean the galactic orbit controls every event in evolution. It would be too simple to turn the galaxy into a direct cause of everything. Earth's history is shaped by many forces: plate tectonics, climate, impacts, biology, chemistry, the sun, the moon, and chance. But the galactic orbit is the wider journey in which all of those forces play out. It is the road beneath the entire history, even if the road does not determine every step. That wider journey gives the video its deeper meaning. You are not orbiting a supermassive black hole because your body feels its pull. You are orbiting it because your life is embedded in a galactic year, in a path around the Milky Way's center, in a system where a hidden black hole marks the dark heart of the structure. You are not in danger from it, but you are not separate from it either. You are part of the galaxy that contains it, and the galaxy has been carrying Earth long before humans knew how to name it. The thought can feel almost peaceful if we let it slow down. There is no emergency in the galactic year. No warning light appears because the solar system is moving. The orbit has been happening for billions of years. Earth formed inside it. Life emerged inside it. Human beings evolved inside it. Every quiet night, every sunrise, every ocean tide, and every breath has taken place inside this hidden motion. The stillness of life is resting on the movement of a star. That is a strange kind of calm. It means that the enormous does not always arrive as violence. Sometimes the enormous is simply the background of everything. The solar system's galactic orbit is not a disaster. It is the condition of being inside a galaxy. Sagittarius A is not a threat to your house tonight. It is part of the hidden center around which the larger journey is measured. And once we understand the size of that journey, the next thing to see is the darkness at the center more closely. Not as a myth, but as the black hole that quietly holds the heart of the Milky Way. Sagittarius A is difficult to describe because the words we use for ordinary objects stop working near a black hole. A mountain has a shape. A planet has a surface. A star has light, heat, color, and a visible edge in the sky. Even a galaxy, although enormous, can still be imagined as a glowing structure of stars. But a black hole is not a solid sphere in the usual sense. It is not a dark planet. It is not a hole drilled through space. It is a region where gravity has become so extreme that beyond a certain boundary, light cannot escape back to the outside universe. That boundary is called the event horizon. It sounds like a line, but it is not a wall you could touch. It is a point of no return, a border in the geometry of space and time. Outside it, objects can still move, orbit, shine, and sometimes escape. Inside it, every future path leads inward. The event horizon is what makes a black hole different from any ordinary mass. A star can be massive. A planet can have gravity. But a black hole is compact enough that escape itself becomes impossible, past the boundary. Sagittarius A is the Milky Way's central example of this strange reality. It contains the mass of millions of suns, but the region that defines it is tiny compared with the galaxy. If the Milky Way were a continent, Sagittarius A would not be a mountain range spread across it. It would be more like an impossibly dense point hidden in the capital city. Small in size but enormous in meaning, it does not fill the galaxy. It does not sit like a giant object visible from everywhere. It hides inside the crowded center, where dust blocks ordinary light, and where stars move in ways that reveal something dark and compact underneath. Something massive is there. Something compact is there. Something dark is there. That is how the black hole became more than an idea. It became the best explanation for the motion of the galactic center. The stars were not moving as if there were an ordinary cluster spread out across a large region. They were moving as if an enormous amount of mass had been concentrated into a space far smaller than any normal group of stars could explain. From Earth, it feels like nothing. In the data, it is a dark center with enormous gravity. This difference between feeling and fact is what makes the black hole so powerful for a calm documentary. The story is not about a visible monster. It is about a hidden object that becomes more real the more carefully we study the motions around it. It is about a darkness that does not need to move toward us to change our understanding of where we are. It is about the discovery that our peaceful galaxy has a center where space itself is shaped by an object millions of times more massive than the sun. The center is not empty. It is concentrated. That concentration is the real terror. Not size in the way we normally imagine size, but density of meaning and mass. A supermassive black hole can be less visually dramatic than a bright star field, but far more extreme in what it represents. It is gravity pushed to a point where ordinary intuition breaks. If the Earth, the Sun, and every familiar object teach us that gravity is a pull toward mass, a black hole teaches us that mass can curve the universe so deeply that escape becomes impossible. It is the same force, but at another scale. That is what makes the universe feel connected and frightening at the same time. The gravity that lets you sit safely in a chair is related to the gravity that shapes the path of stars around Sagittarius A. The difference is not that the black hole uses a separate force. The difference is mass, distance, and compactness. Familiar physics becomes unfamiliar when it is pushed into conditions no human body could survive. This is why the black hole holds the heart of the Milky Way, without needing to hold the entire galaxy like a hand. The Milky Way's center is a crowded environment. Stars, gas, dust, magnetic fields, and high-energy phenomena all share that region. Sagittarius A is the most extreme object in the middle, but it exists inside a larger galactic core. It is surrounded by matter, by stars moving through its gravitational influence, and by a galaxy whose total mass extends far beyond the black hole itself. The center is not a simple, empty pit. It is a dense and complicated region, where the black hole is the deepest point in the structure. From far away, the Milky Way appears soft. This is another important part of the story. Some supermassive black holes sit at the centers of active galaxies, feeding on large amounts of material and releasing enormous energy as gas heats and spirals inward. Those galaxies can shine across cosmic distances, their centers blazing brighter than the combined light of many stars. Sagittarius A is not like that today. It is relatively quiet compared with those active monsters. It does not have a huge, brilliant accretion disk dominating the Milky Way's light. Our black hole is hungry in theory, but not feasting in practice. That quietness gives the Milky Way's center a different feeling. It is not harmless, but it is not currently one of the universe's brightest engines. It is a sleeping or lightly feeding giant, surrounded by matter but not consuming enough of it to turn the galaxy into a blazing active core. This makes it easier to misunderstand. Because it is quiet, it can seem almost irrelevant. Because it is a black hole, it can seem like a constant threat. The truth sits between those extremes. Sagittarius A is calm from a galactic violence perspective, but extreme in what it is. The image was not a simple photograph taken by one telescope. It was built from a global effort, using radio telescopes across Earth to create an Earth-sized virtual instrument. The result showed a glowing ring-like structure around a dark center, not because the black hole itself shines, but because hot material and bent light around it create the visible shape. The dark central region is connected to the shadow of the black hole, a visual sign of the event horizon's effect on surrounding light. Even then, the image is not easy to understand. It is blurry to the casual eye. It does not look like a crisp object hanging in space. It looks like a ring of fire around a darkness, soft and almost unreal. But that softness is part of the truth. We are looking across more than 26,000 light-years, through the complex center of our galaxy, at a region where gravity bends light and time behaves in ways outside everyday experience. The fact that we can image it at all is extraordinary. The picture does not make the black hole simple. That contradiction sits at the center of the video. You live inside a galaxy whose heart is hidden from your senses. This is not a failure of human life. It is the condition of being small inside a large universe. Our senses are tuned for the surface of Earth, not the center of the Milky Way. We were never meant, biologically, to perceive supermassive black holes. We built instruments because the body could not go far enough. Telescopes, detectors, mathematics and models became extensions of the mind into regions the body can never enter. Sagittarius A is therefore not only a black hole. The black hole is both known and unknowable. Known because its mass can be measured, its location identified, its surrounding stars tracked, and its shadow imaged. Unknowable because no information from inside the event horizon can come back out. No human can approach it directly, and the reality beyond that boundary is hidden from the outside universe. Sagittarius A is one of the most studied objects in our galaxy, and still, at its core, it contains a silence that physics itself says cannot be opened from the outside. That silence is not poetic. It is physical. The event horizon is where the future of anything crossing it becomes disconnected from the future of the outside universe. To us, that sounds like mystery, but it is also a precise scientific idea. A black hole does not simply hide because it is dark. It hides because light cannot escape from within the boundary. It is not a shadow cast by an object. It is a region from which signals cannot return. This makes the center of the Milky Way feel like a locked door inside our own galaxy. Separation, and yet we orbit far away, unharmed. That distance gives the story its strange balance. The center is extreme, but our place in the galaxy is calm. The black hole is real, but not near. The event horizon is a boundary of no return, but Earth lives in a region where sunlight, water, and life dominate experience. The same galaxy contains both the blue planet and the dark center. It contains oceans and event horizons, forests and relativistic stars, human sleep, and supermassive gravity. The Milky Way is not one thing emotionally, it gives the galaxy depth. Without the black hole, the Milky Way might feel like a shining collection of stars. With it, the galaxy becomes more like an organism with a hidden core, though not alive, not conscious, not purposeful. A center does not need a mind to matter. Gravity can organize without intention. The black hole can sit at the heart without choosing anything. It can shape nearby motion without wanting to shape it. This absence of intention is important. The black hole is not evil. It is not angry. It is not waiting. It is not a mouth in the moral sense. Human beings often turn cosmic objects into characters because stories are easier to feel that way. A storm becomes angry. The sea becomes cruel. A black hole becomes hungry. These images can be useful, but they can also mislead. Sagittarius A does not hate light. It does not desire matter. It is not a creature. It is an extreme result of gravity, mass, and space-time. The real universe is more frightening because it does not need intention. A black hole can destroy without malice. A star can burn without kindness. A galaxy can carry us without knowing we exist. That indifference is part of the cosmic feeling. We are orbiting a center that does not know us. We are protected by distance, not by care. We are safe because of geometry, speed, and scale, not because the galaxy is gentle. This is not a reason for panic. It is a reason for awe. The fact that life can exist in such a universe is not less beautiful because the universe is indifferent. It may be more beautiful because of it. Earth exists far from the center, in a quieter region, around a stable star, with water, atmosphere, chemistry, and time. At the heart of the same galaxy, Sagittarius A sits in darkness. Both belong to the same system. This connection is the reason the fifth part of the journey matters. If the earlier chapters explain that we are moving and that the black hole is not pulling us inward, this part reveals what the hidden center actually is. It is not a monster, and it is not irrelevant. It is a supermassive black hole, quiet but extreme, hidden but measured, distant but central, surrounded by stars whose motion exposed its presence. The more clearly we see it, the stranger our own position becomes. Because if stars near Sagittarius A can race around the darkness, then our solar system's calm galactic orbit is only the far outer expression of a much larger gravitational story. Near the center, the motion becomes visible in extreme form. Stars curve around the black hole in years or decades. Far from the center, the sun curves around the galaxy in hundreds of millions of years. The same galactic structure contains both the fast dance near the core and the slow journey of our own star. The hidden center is not separate from us. It is the deeper version of the motion we are already part of. And to feel that more clearly, we have to follow the stars that race closest to the darkness, because their motion is the proof that the black hole is real. At the center of the Milky Way, the black hole does not reveal itself the way a star does. It does not shine with its own surface. It does not sit in the sky as a visible sphere. And it does not send light back from inside its event horizon. If we could only trust what the human eye sees, Sagittarius A would remain hidden behind dust, distance, and darkness. But the galaxy has given us another way to know it is there. Around the black hole, stars move in ways that ordinary matter spread through space cannot easily explain. They do not drift gently. They race. These are not the calm stars that seem frozen in the night sky when we look up from Earth. Near the galactic center, stars can travel through their orbits at enormous speeds, bending around the hidden mass in paths so tight and fast that they become a natural experiment in gravity. Their motion is one of the strongest reasons we know the Milky Way contains a supermassive black hole at its heart. The darkness is invisible, but the stars around it behave as if they are tied to something extraordinarily massive and compact. One of the most famous of these stars is often called S2 or S02. It moves around Sagittarius A in an orbit of about 16 years, a remarkably short time for a star circling a mass millions of times heavier than the Sun. In human life, 16 years is long enough for a child to grow almost to adulthood, for cities to change, for technology to shift, and for memory to gather weight. But in the center of a galaxy, 16 years is a blink. A star completing such an orbit around an invisible point tells us that the center is not empty. For astronomers, watching that orbit was like seeing the outline of a hidden mountain by watching rivers bend around it. The star is visible. The thing shaping its path is not. This is how the center became measurable. A black hole might sound like something purely theoretical, but Sagittarius A is not a guess based only on imagination. Its mass and location have been constrained by decades of observation. Telescopes watch stars near the center shift position year after year, and those changes revealed a compact mass of about 4 million suns, not spread across a large cloud, not distributed loosely through an ordinary star cluster, packed into a region so small that the explanation points directly toward a black hole. That is why the motion of the stars matters more than any dramatic illustration. That neighborhood is not like the quiet space around the Sun. It is crowded, energetic, and extreme. Stars are packed more densely than in our region of the galaxy. Gas and dust gather under the influence of the center. Magnetic fields and high-energy radiation become part of the environment. The darkness of the black hole is surrounded by motion, not emptiness. It is as if the most silent object in the region creates the most intense dance around it. The closer a star comes, the more the hidden gravity reveals itself. This does not mean every star near the center is about to fall in. Many stars can orbit a black hole for long periods, just as planets orbit stars. Gravity does not automatically mean destruction. It means curved motion. But near Sagittarius A, that curved motion becomes extreme enough for us to see the difference between ordinary galactic movement and movement shaped by a compact dark mass. The stars are not simply wandering. They are following paths carved by gravity. A star near the black hole becomes a messenger. This is one of the deepest changes in modern astronomy, learning that the invisible can be mapped by patience. A single night of observation would not be enough. A star near Sagittarius A does not explain itself in one moment. The proof grows over years. Positions are measured again and again. The orbit is traced. The curve becomes clearer. The hidden mass becomes harder to deny. This is science moving at the rhythm of the galaxy, not the rhythm of ordinary human impatience. The black hole at the center of the Milky Way was not revealed by one simple glance. In a way, the stars became hands of a cosmic clock. S2, and other stars like it, swing around the center and mark time in a place where gravity is extreme. Their orbits are not the same as the solar system's galactic year. They are far tighter, faster, and more dramatic. But they give us a small-scale version of the same truth. Nothing near the center is truly still. The black hole sits in darkness, and the stars around it trace its influence, again and again. This is where the comparison becomes powerful. Far from the center, our Sun takes about 230 million years to complete one orbit around the Milky Way. Near the center, a star like S2 can complete an orbit in about 16 years. Both motions belong to the same galaxy, but the scales are completely different. One orbit stretches across biological eras. The other can be watched within a human career. One is too slow to feel. The other is fast enough to become direct evidence, the fast time of stars racing near the black hole. The center is no longer just an idea. it has consequences. Those consequences can be measured in orbits, in velocities, in the bending of paths, and in the subtle shifts predicted by Einstein's theory of gravity. When S2 passed close to Sagittarius A, astronomers were able to test how light and motion behave near such a massive object. The star did not simply move around a point. Its motion carried information about space-time itself, about the way gravity affects light and orbits in extreme environments. The center of the Milky Way became not only a place to locate a black hole, but a laboratory for gravity. That is astonishing when you remember where the observations are made from. Earth is far away, on the edge of ordinary life, beneath an atmosphere, around an ordinary star, in a quiet part of the galactic disk. From here, humans built telescopes and watched a star move near the center of the galaxy with enough precision to test the physics of one of the strangest objects in the universe. The scale of that achievement is difficult to feel because the data can look technical, but the meaning is enormous. Not dangerous in the storybook sense, but physically extreme. Their orbits take them through a region where close encounters, intense radiation, and strong gravity are part of the environment. Some stars may be thrown onto strange paths. Some may eventually be disrupted if they pass too close. Gas clouds can be stretched and heated. The center is full of interactions that would make our region of the galaxy seem calm by comparison. From Earth, the Milky Way is a soft band. Near Sagittarius A, it is a storm of motion. And this contrast helps explain why our own situation is so unusual. We are inside the same galaxy, but not inside the same environment. We orbit the same broad center, but from a safe distance. The sun's path around the Milky Way is slow and quiet compared with the stars racing near the core. Earth can support oceans and life because it is not embedded in the crowded heart of the galaxy. The distance that hides Sagittarius A from our senses also protects our ordinary world from the center's extremes. The racing stars show us what the center is like, distant enough not to shape your day. This is why the stars near Sagittarius A are so important to the emotional rhythm of the story. They make the black hole feel undeniable without turning it into a simple monster. They show gravity at work without requiring panic. They show that the center of the Milky Way is not empty, not mythical, not merely theoretical, but a real place where stars move around something dark, visible as a pattern. If you watch a flock of birds circle around an unseen updraft, you know something in the air is shaping their motion. If you watch leaves spiral around an invisible current, you know water is moving beneath them. In the same way, the stars near Sagittarius A reveal the gravitational current around the black hole. Their paths are the visible surface of an invisible depth. There is something almost merciful about that. The stars around Sagittarius A are like lanterns moving around a dark well. They do not illuminate the inside of the well, but they reveal its edge, its pull, its presence. The better we track them, the clearer the hidden structure becomes. Their light travels across 26,000 years to reach Earth, and when it arrives, it carries the record of motion around the center. Every observation is already ancient. When we watch S2, or another star near Sagittarius A, we are not seeing the center as it is at this instant. We are seeing light that left the galactic center tens of thousands of years ago. The orbit we reconstruct is a message from the past. That delay adds another layer to the feeling. The proof of the black hole reaches us only after crossing a distance so large that it turns observation into time travel. The center we study is the center as it was. And yet, because the physics is stable and the galaxy changes slowly on human timescales, that ancient light still reveals the structure we live inside. The delay does not make the black hole unreal. It makes the relationship more cosmic. We learn about the center of our galaxy through old light, measured from a planet moving through its own long orbit by minds that live only briefly compared with the systems they study. This is what makes astronomy different from ordinary seeing. To look far away is to look back. To watch the galactic center is to receive the past of the hidden heart. And the stars racing around Sagittarius A are part of that past reaching us now. The motion also reminds us that the black hole is not frozen in a picture. It is not just the ring-like image people saw from the Event Horizon telescope. It is a living gravitational environment in the physical sense. Changing as stars move, gas shifts, and matter interacts with the central mass. The image gives a face to the black hole, but the orbits give it a history. They show that the center is not a single snapshot. It is a system evolving through time. That matters because the human mind often turns space objects into still images. A galaxy becomes a photograph. A black hole becomes a glowing ring. A star becomes a dot. But the universe is motion. The stars near Sagittarius A are a reminder that even the deepest darkness at the center of the galaxy is surrounded by movement. The black hole itself may be dark, but the environment around it is not static. Everything there is under the influence of time. This brings us back to the title in a deeper way. You are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now, but you are orbiting it from far out in a galaxy where motion has many speeds. Near the black hole, stars race. Far from it, the sun drifts through a galactic year. On Earth, you feel still. All of those statements are true. They do not cancel one another. They belong to different scales inside the same structure. The same galaxy contains your stillness and their speed. That contrast is almost impossible to hold in one thought. A quiet room on Earth and a star whipping around Sagittarius A are parts of the same Milky Way. Your body rests under local gravity, while stars near the center trace paths around a black hole. Earth's oceans move under moonlight, while the galactic core runs its ancient gravitational experiment. Nothing about daily life prepares the mind to connect these things, but they are connected. The connection is not emotional to the universe. It is structural. Gravity connects them. Distance separates them. Time reveals them. And this is why the racing stars are so important before widening the story again. They are the proof that the center is real. They are the visible motion around the invisible mass. They show that the black hole is not only a dramatic phrase in a title, but a measured object embedded in the heart of our galaxy. Once we see their motion, we can no longer imagine the Milky Way as a calm, fixed background. The galaxy is alive with movement, though not alive with intention. The stars near Sagittarius A race around the darkness. The sun moves through its long galactic orbit. Earth spins and circles the sun. Every level is motion. And once the stars at the center show us that nothing near the darkness is still, the next step is to widen the view again and see that the Milky Way itself is not still either. It is easy to imagine a galaxy as a fixed object. Photographs make this almost unavoidable. A galaxy appears as a beautiful structure suspended in darkness. A spiral of stars, frozen in a single elegant shape. The Milky Way, when shown from the outside in illustrations, often looks like a bright disk with curling arms and a glowing center, as if it were a cosmic island sitting quietly in space. But a galaxy is not a still island. It is not a painted spiral. It is a living structure in the physical sense, not alive with thought, but alive with motion. Every star inside it moves. Every cloud of gas moves. The spiral arms are not solid arms. This changes the meaning of motion again. At first we think Earth moves because it rotates. Then we learn that Earth moves around the sun. Then we learn that the sun moves around the center of the Milky Way. But even that is not the final layer. The Milky Way itself is not resting inside space like a ship anchored in a quiet harbor. It is part of a gravitational neighborhood. Other galaxies pull on it. It pulls on them. The local group moves and evolves. The larger universe expands around these bound systems. There is no final still frame. Stillness keeps dissolving as the view widens. The future of galaxies is not a simple clockwork animation where every point is already known forever. The Milky Way is massive, Andromeda is massive, and the smaller galaxies around them also matter. Their gravitational tugs, their dark matter halos, their present motions, and the limits of our measurements all affect the future. On a human timescale, the two galaxies seem far away from any encounter. On a galactic timescale, they are already part of one another's future. This is where the motion becomes almost unsettling. The Milky Way is not only rotating around its dark center, it is also traveling through a universe where other galaxies are moving too. The black hole at the center gives us one kind of hidden motion, but the motion of the galaxy itself gives us another. You are not simply orbiting Sagittarius A as part of the solar system's long galactic year. You are also being carried by a galaxy that is moving through a group of galaxies, pulled and shaped by gravity on scales even larger than the Milky Way. Your cosmic address is not a point. It is a chain of motion. Nothing you call home is standing still. From outside, rest disappears. If we could watch the Milky Way and Andromeda from far beyond the local group, sped up across billions of years, the scene would not look like still galaxies separated forever. It would look like a gravitational dance. The galaxies would drift, approach, tug, distort, perhaps pass through one another, perhaps merge, perhaps be altered by the smaller companions that surround them. Their spiral shapes would not be permanent ornaments. They would be temporary forms made by matter in motion. That is the key. The Milky Way is made of stars, gas, dust, dark matter, black holes, star clusters, nebulae, planets, and remnants. But all of these are moving through time. The galaxy has a history. It formed from earlier structures. It grew by merging with smaller galaxies. It continues to interact with satellite galaxies today. It may change dramatically in the future. What looks like a stable cosmic home is actually one phase in a long evolution. The Milky Way was not always the galaxy we see now. It will not always remain the galaxy we know now. This matters because the title of the video can make the black hole feel like the center of a fixed machine. We imagine a dark core in the middle, the sun circling it, Earth riding along. That picture is useful, but it is incomplete. The Milky Way is not a rigid wheel. It is a galaxy with stars on different orbits, spiral patterns that change, a central bar, a halo, satellite galaxies, and a future shaped by gravitational relationships. Sagittarius A sits at the center, but the entire structure around it is changing. The Milky Way's place in the local group is not permanent. The future shape of our galaxy is not permanent. The universe is not preserving the background for us. This does not mean change is visible in one lifetime. The great mercy of deep time is that it hides most of its motion from human bodies. The galaxy does not visibly twist from one night to the next. Andromeda does not noticeably grow in the sky in a human childhood. The spiral arms do not swing like hands on a clock. We can watch. Cosmic motion is often too slow to be experienced directly, even when it is enormous. That is why science has to extend memory beyond the body. It uses measurements, comparisons, simulations, and ancient light to reveal what the senses cannot. The still image is a limitation of our timescale. The motion is the reality. Two enormous galaxies share a future. Whether the interaction becomes a full merger in the next several billion years or a more complicated long encounter, the important idea for this video is that the Milky Way is not isolated. It is not a closed stage. It belongs to a group. It has companions. It has been shaped by past interactions and will be shaped by future ones. Our orbit around the galactic center is happening inside a galaxy that is itself part of a larger gravitational story. The solar system's motion is nested inside galactic motion. The galaxy's motion is nested inside group motion. This does not make ordinary life false. When you sit in a quiet room, the stillness is real at the scale of your body. A cup on a table is still relative to the table. A mountain is still relative to the landscape. A city is still relative to the continent beneath it. But astronomy reveals that each of these stillnesses is local. They are truths inside a frame, not truths across all frames. The universe does not have to contradict your senses to exceed them. It simply adds larger truths beyond them. For centuries, human understanding has been a sequence of lost centers. Earth was not the center of the solar system. The sun was not the center of the galaxy. The Milky Way was not the whole universe. And now, even inside the Milky Way, we learn that our galaxy is not a still foundation, but a moving structure inside a larger environment. Each discovery removes one kind of centrality and replaces it with a larger connection. If the sun is not still, then our home is on a journey. If the Milky Way is not isolated, then our galaxy belongs to a larger story. If there is no final center, then the universe is not arranged around us, but we are still able to understand parts of its arrangement. That understanding is one of the most extraordinary things about being human. We are creatures on one planet, alive for a brief time. And yet we can reconstruct the motion of a galaxy. We can measure stars near a black hole. We can estimate the sun's orbit. We can observe Andromeda moving toward us. We can simulate futures billions of years ahead, while knowing that uncertainty remains. We can place our quiet lives inside a moving structure, far beyond our senses. The Milky Way is not still, and somehow we know that. That sentence carries almost as much wonder as fear. The universe is enormous, but the narration is calm. The facts are unsettling, but the delivery can be gentle. The motion is beyond human scale, but the mind can approach it slowly. And when we approach it slowly, the Milky Way stops being only a beautiful band of light and becomes the moving home of the solar system. Its center contains a black hole. Its disk carries the sun. Its halo contains ancient stars and dark matter. Its satellites tug and fall around it. Its future is connected to Andromeda and the local group. It is not a background. It is a participant in time. The Milky Way carries us, but it is also being carried by the larger universe. This is where the idea can become almost too large. If the solar system is orbiting the galaxy, and the galaxy is moving through the local group, and the local group participates in larger cosmic motion, then where are we really? The answer is not a single simple coordinate. We are defined by relationships. We are on Earth relative to Earth's surface. We are in the solar system relative to the sun. We are in the Milky Way relative to the galactic center. We are in the local group relative to nearby galaxies. Every location is a relationship inside a larger motion. The universe gives us no absolute flaw. That may be the most accurate kind of cosmic peace, not the peace of perfect stillness. We are passengers inside that moving pattern. And this brings the story back to the black hole in a more complete way. Sagittarius A is the center of our galaxy, but not the end of motion. The sun orbits the galactic center, but the galaxy itself moves. The center is hidden, but the whole structure is traveling. The black hole is not a final point of rest. It is a dark heart inside a galaxy that belongs to an even larger flow. So when we say you are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now, we are describing only one layer of your motion. A true description would be almost impossible to say simply. You are rotating with Earth, orbiting the sun, moving around the Milky Way's center, traveling with the Milky Way through the local group, and existing inside an expanding universe. But the title works because it opens the door It takes one hidden layer and makes it visible. It makes the calm ground beneath you feel connected to the dark center of the galaxy. Then, the widening view shows that even this is not the final motion. The Milky Way is not still either. And because the Milky Way is not still, the black hole at its center becomes part of a journey larger than itself. Sagittarius A does not sit at the center of reality. It sits at the center of one galaxy. That galaxy moves. That galaxy has a history. That galaxy has a future. And everything we know, every human life, every night sky, every ocean on Earth, has happened inside that moving galactic system. The Milky Way moved before humans existed. It moves now. It will keep moving after every person alive today is gone. It may interact with Andromeda. It may change shape. It may absorb smaller galaxies. It may lose some stars and form others. Its central black hole may remain quiet or flare in small ways. Its future will not pause for human history, just as its past did not wait for human understanding. But for a brief moment, we are here inside it. We can know that Earth is moving. We can know that the sun is moving. We can know that the galaxy is moving. We can know that stillness is only the local face of a much larger journey. And once the motion of the Milky Way is no longer hidden, the next question becomes, why the black hole at the center still feels so quiet from here? That quietness may be the strangest part of all, because the idea itself sounds enormous. A supermassive black hole sits at the heart of the galaxy. Stars race around it. Space and time curve near it. Light cannot escape from within its event horizon. The whole solar system is moving around the galactic center as part of the Milky Way's long rotation. And yet, here on Earth, morning still arrives gently. Rain still falls downward. Birds still move through the air. Oceans still rise and fall under the moon. A person can live an entire life without ever feeling the center of the galaxy. The black hole is real, but it does not enter the body. It does not press on your chest. It does not pull at your feet. It does not bend the horizon in front of you. It does not darken the sun, twist the clouds, or drag the oceans towards Sagittarius. If you had never learned astronomy, nothing in ordinary experience would force you to suspect that the galaxy contains a supermassive black hole at all. The ground would still feel like ground. The sky would still feel like sky. The night would still look quiet. This is not because the black hole is imaginary. It is because distance changes everything. Sagittarius A is so far away that its direct influence on daily life is overwhelmed by the things near us. Earth's gravity rules your body. The sun rules the warmth and light of the solar system. The moon helps shape the tides. The planets are distant companions with subtle gravitational effects compared with the sun. The galactic center belongs to a much larger scale, a scale where its presence matters for the structure of the Milky Way, but not for the way a leaf falls from a tree or how a person walks across a room. Far things can define the larger architecture without becoming noticeable in daily life. This is one of the most important differences between human feeling and cosmic reality. Human feeling is local. It is built from pressure, temperature, sound, balance, light, smell, and touch. It tells us about the world close enough to matter immediately. It does not tell us about a black hole 26,000 light-years away. It does not tell us about dark matter in the galactic halo. It does not tell us about the motion of the local group. The body is not wrong. It is simply tuned for survival, not for cosmic mapping. The body knows Earth. The mind has to learn the galaxy. Distance decides how mass reaches you. A mountain close to you matters more to your view than a continent far away. A candle beside your face can seem brighter than a city beyond the horizon. A small magnet in your hand can move a needle more obviously than an enormous planet far across space. Scale is not only about size, it is about relationship. The Sun is our immediate star. The galactic center is our distant structural center. One warms the skin, the other shapes the galaxy. That difference is why Earth feels peaceful while orbiting a dark center. The black hole is not silent because it is weak. It is silent to us because we are far away, protected by scale and embedded in local conditions. Near Sagittarius A, the environment is not quiet in the same way. Stars move rapidly. Gas can heat and flare. Gravity becomes a dominant fact. But those conditions belong to the center, not to our region. The Milky Way is large enough to contain extreme places and gentle places at the same time. Earth lives in one of the gentler places. Your eyes cannot show you Sagittarius A directly. Your skin cannot feel the galaxy's center. Your ears cannot hear stars moving around the black hole. But instruments can detect radio waves, infrared light, X-rays, stellar motions, and subtle patterns that reveal the hidden structure. Science does not make the black hole louder to the body. It makes the quiet meaningful to the mind. The silence becomes readable. Earth is local. The Sun is local. The solar system is local compared with the galaxy. The region of the Milky Way around the Sun is local compared with the center. And inside that local region, the black hole becomes a distant part of the larger picture rather than an immediate force. We live in a nested reality where each scale has its own importance. Earth's calmness is not universal. It is positional. Move the solar system much closer to the galactic center, and the story could be different. Place Earth near the crowded core, among more frequent stellar encounters, stronger radiation environments, and gravitational complexity, and the long quiet needed for life might be harder to preserve. Place Earth too close to Sagittarius A, and the black hole would no longer be a distant idea. It would become part of local survival. But we are not there. We are here, far out in the disk, in a quieter region where the center can be studied rather than endured. This distance is part of our fortune. It is easy to forget that habitability is not only about the distance between Earth and the Sun, it is also about the broader environment around the solar system. Life benefits from a stable star, a stable orbit, a protective atmosphere, liquid water, chemistry, and time. But it also benefits from not being too close to extreme regions of the galaxy. Our calm night sky is not only a local gift from Earth and the Sun, it is also a galactic gift of location. The black hole feels quiet because we live far from the room where it speaks most loudly. This is true across astronomy. A supernova nearby could be dangerous. From far away, it becomes a bright point and a clue about stellar death. A quasar near its center is a violent engine. From across the universe, it becomes ancient light and a sign of early galaxies. A black hole close enough could destroy. From across the Milky Way, Sagittarius A becomes a subject of study. The same universe can be deadly at one distance and beautiful at another. That is not contradiction. That is scale. Scale is what allows Earth to sleep under the galaxy's dark center. The central black hole may be millions of times more massive than the Sun, but the galaxy is vast. The Sun is far from the core. The solar system is moving in a broad orbit shaped by the Milky Way's total mass, not falling straight inward. The black hole is part of the architecture, but not the weather. It is part of the address, but not the room. From near Sagittarius A, the galaxy's center is intense. From Earth, the same center is a distant hidden region behind the star fields. From the point of view of the Sun, the galactic orbit is long and stable enough to have carried the solar system for billions of years. From the point of view of human life, that same motion disappears almost completely into the background. Each perspective is true. None contains the whole. This is what makes cosmic perspective difficult. We are always inside one scale, trying to imagine another. We know the black hole is there, but we experience Earth. We know the sun is moving, but we feel the ground. We know the Milky Way is not still, but the stars appear fixed. The mind has to hold truths that the body cannot verify moment by moment. That gap between knowledge and sensation creates the strange calm of this topic. You know you are moving around the galactic center, but you feel none of it. Astronomy is that act of looking beyond the useful. It tells us what is real even when it is not useful to feel it. The black hole at the center of the Milky Way does not help you cross a street or make a meal. It does not change the fact that tomorrow morning will be shaped by weather, light, and human concerns. But it changes the frame around all of those concerns. It reminds us that the ordinary is not separate from the cosmic. A morning on Earth is still a morning inside the Milky Way. A quiet room is still moving around the galactic center. A human thought still happens in a brain carried by a planet, a star, and a galaxy. Sagittarius A is one of those hidden systems. Not close enough to dominate us, not distant enough to be irrelevant to our understanding. They do not demand attention. They wait for discovery. They exist before we name them and remain after we forget them. The black hole at the center of the Milky Way was there before humans looked up, before ancient sky stories, before telescopes, before mathematics could describe gravity. It was quiet from Earth then, and it is quiet from Earth now. The difference is that now we know what the quiet is hiding. Knowledge changes the silence. Before discovery, the galactic center was only a bright and dusty direction in the sky. After discovery, it became the hiding place of a supermassive black hole. The sky did not change, but our understanding did. That is one of the deepest transformations science can create. It does not move the universe. It moves the mind into a larger version of reality. The same night sky becomes heavier with meaning. A person looking towards Sagittarius can now know that, beyond the visible stars and dust, the heart of the Milky Way contains a dark object millions of times more massive than the sun. They can know that stars move around it, that light bends near it, that the solar system orbits far from it, and that all of this is happening while Earth feels calm. The body sees a sky, the mind sees a galaxy. This dual vision is what makes the topic so useful for a calm documentary. It is frightening in concept, but peaceful in immediate experience. The black hole is not coming for us. The galaxy is not collapsing into it. The solar system is not spiraling inward on a human timescale. Earth is not shaking under the weight of Sagittarius A. Instead, the fear is transformed into scale. The danger becomes distant enough to become wonder. The darkness becomes part of the architecture. The quiet becomes meaningful. And perhaps that is why the black hole feels quiet from here in the deepest sense. Because the universe is not arranged to match human drama. If a supermassive black hole exists, our instincts expect it to announce itself. We expect danger to feel dangerous. We expect extreme objects to produce extreme experience. But astronomy repeatedly shows that reality does not follow human storytelling. The most powerful things can be hidden. The largest motions can feel still. The deepest centers can be invisible. A black hole can sit at the heart of the galaxy while life continues far away under blue daylight. The universe is not less real because it is quiet. It may be more frightening because of it. A loud danger gives the body something to react to. A quiet cosmic truth gives only the mind something to hold. Sagittarius A is that kind of truth. It is not part of the weather, but part of the cosmic condition. It is not a local threat, but a structural fact. It does not interrupt sleep, but it changes what sleep is happening inside. You can sleep peacefully while orbiting a dark center. That sentence feels impossible until distance makes it simple. The Milky Way is large enough for both statements to be true. A supermassive black hole sits at the core. and Earth remains a calm world, far from it. The galaxy is large enough to contain stars racing around darkness and human beings watching rain on windows. It is large enough to make the most extreme object in our home galaxy feel almost silent from one small planet. That silence is not a mistake. It is the sound of scale. And once we understand why the black hole feels quiet from here, the next step is to ask, what kind of orbit can carry civilizations, species, and entire worlds through such enormous time without ever letting them feel the path? The orbit of the solar system around the Milky Way is not only large in distance, it is large in consequence because it stretches across timescales that swallow almost everything humans normally use to understand history. One galactic year is not a background fact that can be placed neatly beside ordinary time. It is a reminder that the entire human story, from the first tools to the first cities to the first spacecraft, has happened during only a tiny fraction of one slow passage around the galaxy. That is difficult to accept because human history already feels old from the inside. Ancient ruins feel ancient. Dead languages feel distant. The first written records feel like messages from a world almost lost to time. Even a few centuries can change the surface of civilization completely. A city can be rebuilt. A kingdom can vanish. A religion can spread. A technology can transform daily life. And a memory that once felt permanent can become a name in a book. To human beings, history is already deep. But the galactic orbit makes history look shallow. It is simply large. A civilization can feel like the center of the world to the people living inside it. Its cities seem permanent. Its borders seem meaningful. Its languages feel like the natural way to speak. Its monuments are built to resist time. Its stories explain the sky, the land, the dead, and the future. But from the scale of the galactic year, all of these things are short-lived arrangements on the surface of a moving planet. The ground beneath every empire was traveling around the Milky Way. The same was true for every forest, every ocean, every desert, and every species that came before us. The orbit that carries human civilization also carried the dinosaurs. It carried the first mammals. It carried ancient reefs, giant insects, early forests, ice-covered landscapes, and worlds so different from ours that Earth would have felt like another planet. The solar system did not wait for intelligence before becoming part of galactic motion. Life evolved inside a journey it could not know it was taking. This gives Earth's story a hidden shape. That idea can make the past feel almost ghostly. The ancient Earth of human memory is gone not only because its people are gone, but because the entire planet has moved onward. The place where those nights happened is no longer where we are now on the galactic path. The ruins remain on Earth, but Earth itself has traveled. The stones may sit in the same desert or valley, but the desert and valley are being carried by a planet, a star, and a galaxy. Nothing is held in the same place forever. This is not how the body understands memory. Human memory attaches to locations. A childhood room, a street, a field, a coast, a doorway. We feel that memories live in places, but astronomy reveals that places are not still. The room was on a rotating planet. The planet was orbiting the sun. The sun was moving around the Milky Way. The memory is real, but the stage of the memory was always in motion. The orbit that outlives civilizations also outlives the illusion of fixed places. It tells us that even the most grounded human experiences are happening inside motion too large to feel. A family eating dinner, a person watching rain, a child looking at the moon, a scientist receiving telescope data, a city glowing at night from orbit. All of it occurs on the same moving world. The galaxy does not interrupt those moments. It holds them inside a larger movement. A tree does not need to know the Milky Way to be carried through it. An ocean does not need to know Sagittarius A to move around the galactic center. A civilization does not need to know its cosmic orbit to live inside it. This is why the orbit matters even though we cannot feel it, not just near the sun, but inside a galaxy with a dark center, moving through a path that began long before human history and will continue long after the present age has disappeared. When we say the orbit outlives civilizations, we are also saying that the orbit outlives most of the meanings civilizations create. Borders change, maps are redrawn, names vanish, calendars are replaced, languages split, merge, and die. What one age considers permanent can become unreadable to another. The galaxy does not preserve these meanings unless minds preserve them. And minds are brief. This can sound cold, but it is not meant to erase human value. A song is not worthless because it ends. A life is not meaningless because it is short. That moment is where we are. We are living during an age when the solar system's hidden orbit has become knowable. Earlier, humans lived inside the same motion, but could not describe it. They saw the Milky Way as a luminous band, a river, a path, a smoke trail, a gathering of spirits, or a mystery in the sky. They were not wrong emotionally, but they did not yet have the instruments and theories needed to know the galaxy as a rotating structure with a supermassive black hole at its center. Now we know more. That knowledge creates a new kind of awe. It buries its scale inside ordinary days. This is why the orbit can carry civilizations without letting them feel the path. The motion is not hidden because it is secret. It is hidden because it is too smooth, too shared, and too large. Every person, building, river, mountain, forest, ocean, and cloud moves with Earth. Earth moves with the sun. The sun moves with the galaxy. There is no friction against a cosmic road, no wind of the Milky Way against our skin, no vibration telling us that the entire solar system is circling a dark center. We feel the ground because the ground is close. We do not feel the galaxy because we are inside it. The same is true for time. We feel days, we feel seasons, we feel age in the body. We feel generations through family and memory, but we do not feel a galactic year. It is too large to become experience. It can only become understanding. It can only be approached by thought, by science, by imagination, and by the calm acceptance that the human timescale is not the only timescale in which our lives occur. This is where the video becomes less about black holes and more about perspective. It will keep turning after cities change. It will keep turning after languages become unrecognizable. It will keep turning after every machine we now use has become old or forgotten. It will keep turning through future climates, future oceans, future species, future civilizations, if they exist, and future silences, if they do not. The solar system's orbit is patient in a way human things are not. Patience, of course, is a human word. The orbit is not waiting. It has no intention, no awareness, no mercy. But from our perspective, its continuation feels like patience because it moves through the rise and fall of worlds without interruption. It carries everything equally, the temporary and the ancient, the living and the dead, the meaningful and the forgotten. Every civilization thinks it stands on solid ground. A candle is fragile compared with the night, but while it burns, it is light. It allows a temporary mind to hold a longer time. No individual human can live through a galactic year. No culture can easily preserve memory across one. No language we speak today is guaranteed to remain recognizable across even a tiny fraction of it. But we can imagine the orbit. We can calculate it. We can place ourselves inside it. We can understand that we are living in a small slice of a much larger motion. And perhaps that is the only way a small species can meet a vast universe. Not by becoming as large as the galaxy, not by controlling it, not by escaping all limits, but by understanding something true about its place within it. We cannot feel the Milky Way's motion in our bones. We cannot watch one galactic year pass. We cannot see the center directly with our eyes. But we can know enough to say that our lives are happening inside that motion. The orbit outlives civilizations. But civilization, for a brief time, can know the orbit. There is a deep beauty in that reversal. The larger thing does not know the smaller. The galaxy does not know us. Sagittarius A does not know Earth. The orbit does not know civilization. But the smaller thing can know something of the larger. Human minds can turn upward, gather light, measure stars, study motion, and understand that the ground beneath them is not the whole stage. This does not defeat time. The feeling is awe. If the previous chapters made the black hole less like a monster and more like a hidden center, this chapter makes the orbit less like a number and more like a deep time condition. It shows that the solar system's path is not just a technical fact about galactic dynamics, it is the motion beneath every human age. It is the silent background of every civilization. It is the enormous year in which all our smaller years appear and disappear. From this view, the night sky becomes softer and stranger. When you look up, you are not only seeing stars, you are looking from a moving world inside an orbit too large to feel. The constellations are not pinned to a ceiling. The Milky Way is not a fixed river. Sagittarius A is not a visible object, but its place in the galaxy helps define the center around which the whole larger motion is understood. Every quiet night is part of that path. Every human life is part of that path. The most unsettling part may be that there is no special announcement when a civilization rises or falls along it. The solar system does not pause when a species becomes intelligent. The galaxy does not mark the invention of language, agriculture, writing, or spaceflight. The orbit continues with the same deep indifference that shaped it long before us. In that indifference, we can feel small, but we can also feel the seriousness of being awake at all. To be conscious inside such a motion is rare, at least from what we know. To understand it is rarer still. For billions of years, Earth moved through the galaxy without any life capable of describing the path. For most of life's history, no mind knew the solar system was orbiting the Milky Way. Even human beings lived for a long time beneath the stars without knowing the true structure of the galaxy. Only recently did the motion become clear. Only recently did the hidden black hole become part of our map. We are living in the brief age when the orbit knows itself through us. That sentence is poetic, but it points to something real. The orbit has no mind. The galaxy has no mind. But a small part of the galaxy became conscious on Earth. Through that consciousness, the galaxy can be studied from within. The sun's orbit can be measured by beings riding along with it. Sagittarius A can be discovered by minds living far away from it. For a moment, matter inside the Milky Way understands the Milky Way. This is the opposite of meaninglessness. It is fragile meaning, but it is meaning. And maybe that is the best way to hold the scale without being crushed by it. We do not need to be permanent to matter. We do not need to be central to understand. We do not need to feel the galactic orbit for it to shape the truth of where we are. We only need to be awake long enough to notice. The orbit that outlives civilizations is not only a reminder that we are brief, it is a reminder that we are aware. And awareness, even brief awareness, changes the darkness. The black hole at the center remains distant. The Milky Way keeps moving. The solar system continues along its enormous path. Earth remains calm beneath our feet. Human life continues in its small calendar of days and years. But now, behind that calendar, we can sense the larger one. Not with the body, but with the mind. A galactic year is passing too slowly for us to feel. but not too slowly for us to understand. And once we understand that our entire history is only a brief moment inside one enormous orbit, the final question becomes, why this hidden motion breaks the human mind so deeply? It is not because the motion is dangerous. Earth is not shaking apart because the solar system moves around the Milky Way. The oceans are not being pulled towards Sagittarius A. The sky is not tearing open above us. The sun is not about to fall into the black hole at the center of the galaxy. Life continues in the same quiet way it always has, with days, seasons, weather, sleep, memory, and the ordinary weight of being human. The fear comes from something quieter. It comes from realizing that stillness was never what we thought it was. Every human life begins inside a small frame. A room feels still. A street feels still. A town feels still. Even Earth itself feels still beneath the feet, because the body is carried with it. The mind grows up trusting the ground, and that trust is necessary. Without it, ordinary life would become impossible. We have to believe, at least locally, that the world is stable enough to stand on. And locally, it is. But astronomy opens the frame. It removes the final flaw. Human beings naturally want a stable background. We want to know where we are in a way that does not keep changing when the view widens. But the universe does not give us that kind of absolute stillness. Every frame that feels stable is nested inside a larger frame that moves. Earth is stable relative to a person standing on it. The solar system is stable relative to the sun. The sun has a path inside the Milky Way. The Milky Way has motion inside the local group. The more we zoom out, the more stillness becomes local, not universal. That does not make the ground beneath us false. The familiar world becomes layered. Not loneliness because we are physically alone, but loneliness because consciousness becomes aware of a scale it cannot enter. We can understand the galactic year, but we cannot live through one. We can calculate the sun's motion, but we cannot feel it. We can image the shadow of the black hole, but we cannot travel to the center. We can know the truth, but we cannot experience it directly in the way we experience warmth, sound, or touch. The universe becomes knowable, but not intimate. That is a hard condition for the mind. Human beings are used to understanding things by being near them. A fire is understood through heat. Water is understood through touch. A storm is understood through sound, wind, and fear. But Sagittarius A is understood through distance, instruments, mathematics, and patience. The Milky Way's motion is understood through measurements and models, not through bodily experience. The most important truth about where we are is not something life naturally feels. So the mind has to live in two worlds. This is why the idea feels almost dreamlike. It is too real to be fantasy, and too distant to feel real. The black hole at the center of the Milky Way does not need to threaten us to disturb us. It only needs to exist. It only needs to reveal that our calm world belongs to a galaxy with a dark center. It only needs to show that the night sky is not a ceiling, but the inside view of a rotating stellar system. It only needs to remind us that home is moving, and that the motion is far older than anything humans have built. The mind breaks because it wants the universe to be arranged around the scale of life. But the universe is arranged around no human scale. A human life is long enough to matter deeply to the person living it. It is long enough for love, grief, fear, work, memory, and change. A century can contain an entire world of experience. But compared with a galactic year, it is almost nothing. Compared with the age of the Milky Way, it is even less. The problem is not that human life is meaningless. The problem is that meaning and size are not the same thing. The galaxy does not give us that meaning. We bring it with us. This is both comforting and frightening. Comforting, because it means the vastness of the universe does not automatically erase the importance of human experience. Frightening, because it means the universe does not preserve meaning for us. Sagittarius A does not know we orbit the galaxy. The Milky Way does not know Earth has oceans. The galactic year does not mark the rise of civilizations. If meaning is to exist, it exists because living minds create it in a universe that does not promise to keep it. For most of human history, we felt central because we lived from the center of our own experience. The world spread outward from the body. The sky revolved overhead. The sun rose and set. The stars moved around us. It was natural to feel that Earth was the stage on which the universe was displayed. Science slowly removed that illusion. Earth was not the center of the solar system. The sun was not the center of the galaxy. The Milky Way was not the whole universe. And now, even our galaxy is one moving structure among many. Earth matters because it is our home, not because it is the center of all things. The sun matters because it gives our world light, not because it is the center of the universe. Human life matters because it is lived, felt, remembered, and shared, not because the galaxy is arranged around it. Sagittarius A sits at the center of the Milky Way, but it does not make oceans, laughter, music, or memory less real. The black hole has centrality. Earth has meaning. Those are different kinds of importance. When we confuse them, the universe feels like an insult. But when we separate them, the picture becomes calmer. We can accept that the galaxy has a center that is not us. We can accept that the solar system moves around that center. We can accept that a supermassive black hole sits in the hidden heart of the Milky Way. And we can still understand that Earth is precious because of what happens here. The cosmic scale does not need to flatter us to include us. That is what saves the idea from pure despair. We are brief, but we are not blind. We live for a tiny fraction of the galactic orbit, but we can understand that the orbit exists. We cannot feel the black hole at the center, but we can discover it. We cannot watch the Milky Way complete its future, but we can measure enough to know it moves. For a short time, the universe became aware of this hidden motion through beings on a small planet. That may be one of the most extraordinary facts in the entire story. A galaxy does not need consciousness to rotate. A black hole does not need witnesses to exist. Stars do not need minds to race around Sagittarius A. But on Earth, inside the same galaxy, matter arranged itself into life. Life became aware, and awareness looked back toward the center. The Milky Way did not build a mirror on purpose, but in us, it gained something like one. We are the galaxy learning that it moves. It means we are not outside the cosmic story looking in. We are the cosmic story becoming conscious in one place. This does not make us central, and it does not make us permanent, but it makes us remarkable. Not because we rule the galaxy, but because we can know something about it. The black hole does not know us, but we know the black hole. The orbit does not know us, but we know the orbit. The galaxy does not remember us, but for now we can remember the galaxy. This reversal gives the ending its emotional weight. The universe is enormous, indifferent, and silent. But human awareness can still reach into it. Not physically to every place, not forever, not with certainty, but enough to understand the hidden structure around us. We can stand on Earth and know that the sun is moving. We can look at a band of light and know it is the galaxy from inside. We can learn that the center is not empty, but dark and massive. We can understand that our lives are happening inside motion, too large to feel. The next time someone looks up at the Milky Way, the pale band may no longer feel like a decoration in the sky. It may feel like the inside of a system. The stars are not simply lights above us. They are part of the galaxy carrying us. The dark patches are not empty spaces, but dust blocking light from deeper regions. Somewhere beyond the visible glow, hidden in the direction of Sagittarius, the center of the Milky Way contains Sagittarius A. And far from that center, the sun continues its long path. The black hole does not need to be visible for the knowledge to change the sky. It changes the meaning of the sky. It changes the meaning of where we are. This is why the title works. Not because it tells the whole story literally in one sentence, but because it opens a hidden layer of reality. You are not orbiting Sagittarius A like Earth orbits the Sun. You are not being dragged toward the event horizon. You are not in immediate danger from the black hole. But you are part of the solar system, and the solar system is moving around the center of the Milky Way, where a supermassive black hole sits inside the heart of our galaxy. The truth is that Earth's calmness exists inside motion. The truth is that the sun's light reaches us while the sun moves through a galaxy. The truth is that the center of that galaxy is hidden from ordinary sight. The truth is that the black hole at the center is not a monster coming for us, but a real object in a vast gravitational structure. The truth is that every human life takes place during a tiny moment of one galactic orbit, and the truth is that none of this can be felt directly. The universe does not give one emotion, it gives scale. And scale is the real subject of this journey. The black hole is the doorway. The galactic orbit is the path. The human mind is the place where the size of it becomes almost unbearable. We are not built to imagine hundreds of millions of years as easily as we imagine tomorrow. We are not built to feel a black hole 26,000 light years away. We are not built to sense the motion of the galaxy. But we are built, somehow, to ask questions. And the deeper we go, the quieter the fear becomes. At the beginning, you are orbiting a supermassive black hole sounds like danger. By the end, it feels more like perspective. We are safe for now, not because the universe is gentle, but because distance, motion, and local stability place us in a calm region of a vast galaxy. We are small, not because we are worthless, but because the universe is large. We are not central, but we are aware. We are not still, but we are carried. That may be the most peaceful way to hold the thought. You are being carried by Earth's rotation, and although the body feels only the ground, the mind can know the journey. The hidden motion breaks the human mind because it removes simple stillness, simple centrality, and simple time. But it also gives us something in return. It gives us a larger home. Not a home that is safer because it is small, but a home that is more beautiful because it is vast. Earth remains Earth. The sun remains our star. The Milky Way remains our galaxy. Sagittarius A remains the dark center we orbit from far away. Everything familiar is still here. It is just moving. And maybe that is the final calm truth. The universe does not need to be still for us to belong to it. A moving planet can still be home. A moving star can still give life. A moving galaxy can still carry the world that made us. A hidden black hole can sit at the center without turning our lives into terror. Motion is not the opposite of peace. Sometimes motion is the structure that allows peace to exist. The quiet room is real, the galactic orbit is real, the black hole is real. The mind has to hold all three. And when it does, the night sky becomes deeper. It no longer looks like a ceiling above a fixed world. It becomes the visible edge of a moving galaxy. A galaxy with a hidden center. A galaxy carrying every human life through a path too large to feel. The darkness between stars no longer feels empty. It feels like scale. The pale river of the Milky Way no longer feels distant. It feels like the structure we are inside. You are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now. Not in panic, not in danger, not as a falling victim, but as part of the Milky Way, moving quietly with the sun through a galaxy whose center is hidden in darkness. And perhaps the most incredible part is that you know it. Thank you for watching this journey through our galaxy's hidden motion. If you enjoyed this calm exploration of the Milky Way, Sagittarius A, and the strange truth of where we are, subscribe to the channel for more space documentaries like this. Leave a like and write what impossible space mystery you want to explore next. Tonight, you are watching Space for Sleep, talking about you are orbiting a supermassive black hole right now. Sleep well and keep looking up. Good night.